Good morning, everybody. Welcome to CPL Radio Online's video stream here on various platforms. We're very pleased to have back Andy Fish, our PGA professional, who has been with our radio and video initiatives for a long time now. You're one of my earliest adopters.
Morning, Jeff. Thanks. Yeah.
We got a history, man. So I will turn things over to him. If you have any questions during the broadcast, feel free to key them in on whatever chat areas you see either on YouTube or Facebook, and we'll try to read them live on the air. And take it away, Andy. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. It's getting nice out, and I'm pretty excited to see the season coming around. We'll get right to it. I have 3 questions ready to go that was sent to me from last week. I appreciate all the interest from last week. A lot of downloads. I'm excited. And I'm welcoming you here to the Golf Lab at Elite Sports Club Mequon, where I have a little golf lab where I help people get a little better and enjoy the game. So let's get right to the questions. First question is from Dean. And Dean didn't ask the question as much as he kind of stated a point, but the question is, does the ball really matter? And what he pointed out, Dean kind of said he was a little frustrated seeing people buy the cheapest golf ball or just pick up golf balls out of the woods and say that's good enough. I'm not good enough for it to matter. And I'm going to have to lean towards Dean a little bit on this one. If you can, if you can afford it, I would buy probably the nicest golf ball you can. If you buy the cheaper golf balls, they spin less. They do have some decent distance to them, but they don't go any further than the premium golf ball. And are you paying a whole bunch of premium for just a little bit of benefit? I don't think so. So I think if you could get to that Pro V1 level, the Bridgestone level, the TP5 from TaylorMade level, that top end level, you're going to be pretty good. So the spin's going to be good. The distance is going to be great. It's going to be better for your game around the green and off the tee. So yes, buy as much golf ball as you want to afford, and you'll get a good, consistent. And that's the other thing. Pick one golf ball. Maybe if you can get fit, there's certain retailers that can fit you for golf ball that fits your game the best. But once you find a golf ball, try to stick with it. Yes, it's fun to find the golf balls out of the woods and hit those. But let's take those golf balls, put them in a bucket or a bag, and just use that as your shag bag for chipping and practicing around the green when you want to hit chips and putts and stuff like that. So, but when you're playing, if you could at least stay consistent, that's going to help out the most. And buy the most premium golf ball that you can. That'll help your game immensely. So the next question comes from Scott. And Scott asks a big question. How do you avoid anxiety on the course when you're playing well? Well, let's kind of take a step back from that. Yeah, anxiety on the golf course. And then how do you avoid it? Anxiety is more of a result of different things. So we want to take a step back and say, what causes this anxiety? And mostly in a performance or a golf kind of venue, anxiety comes from thinking too much in the future and in the past and being focused on that. So there's 2 main things that I think that we can use to not be as anxious on the golf course. And the first one is focus. You can imagine so I want to say this. So focus is not something that you try to have. Focus is something where you're trying to eliminate other things. And let me put that as an example. If you're standing at the bottom of a hill and there's a large boulder coming down the hill, rolling at you, your focus is pretty intense on what's happening there. Now, you might still have to pay some bills later, but you're probably not going to be focused on that. Your focus is there. And really what's happening is everything else doesn't matter as much. And if we can start to practice that, and it's a skill that we can practice, just like chipping or putting or anything. I think a good drill for focus and eliminating the outside influence and just being able to look at one thing and kind of stay there in the present. Just pick a few conversations that you're going to have this week and just focus on what the person's saying. Don't think about what you're going to say next. Don't start thinking about what's on your phone or something around. Try to focus exactly what the person's saying. Listen to them, and then come up with questions to bring their conversation along. It is the best practice for focus and staying in the moment. It'll bring you to a place where you can kind of be in the moment with that conversation and not thinking about 100 other things. So that practice will help you on the golf course. Also, what I would say is, as far as focus, I apologize for that little technical error. Another thing about focus is what we want to do is just kind of be in the moment and not let outside things like a camera going off throw you off a little bit. But what you want to do is kind of know that you can be in the present, and it doesn't have to be intense. It can be a relaxed state. It doesn't have to be something that you get after and try really hard at. It's just you allowing kind of thoughts to come in and go away that aren't important, and just leaving what you're trying to focus on for that moment. So focus is one of them that's going to help your anxiety quite a bit. Pre-shot routine. So a strong pre-shot routine, kind of like we talked about last week, making sure that you're dividing that pre-shot routine into where you're processing all the numbers, and then you get over the ball and you just play. Getting a strong pre-shot routine will get you in a rhythm that'll kind of get past that anxiety a little bit. And I would say the last thing is self-awareness. So self-awareness, real easy and real practical. Just write down how you feel, a sentence or two, paragraph if you want to go a whole page, but just write down a sentence or two. And after you practice and after you play, how did you feel? Did you have a big breakfast? Did you have 5 cups of coffee before you teed off? Was that a good thing? Was that a bad thing? And what you'll see is after you start writing down how you feel after every practice and every round of golf, you'll start to see patterns. And those patterns will be when you play your best, you want to look at those. Don't worry about when you don't play as well. Worry about when you play your best and when you feel good. And then you start to replicate that system. What happened that day? How did you feel? Were you loose? Did you stretch out? And those patterns will help you kind of be in a place where you'll be more confident. So those are the things that I think that can help out quite a bit with anxiety. Focus, something to practice is just conversations or just being in the moment and learning how to let other things go away that you don't want to focus on at that point. And then you'll be able to do that on the course a lot better. And then also pre-shot routine, and then self-awareness, just starting to see the patterns that you have that might not have come to mind. And just the process of putting those words down onto paper gets your thoughts kind of controlled. You get to see them on the page. They become real. And then you start to see patterns that can help you play your best. So I hope that helps. Try that out this week and see how that works for you. And any questions, Jeff, coming in? Otherwise, I have another question from Lynn.
Nothing as yet, but a couple of viewers tuning in, so feel free again to jump in the chat anytime, and we'll pop it on the air. So
Right.
Carry on, sir, and make sure that handy cam behaves.
We'll get that fixed. We're making steps, small steps. Right now, I've made the decor of what Jeff said. It looked like I was in golf jail, but we'll work on it. We'll keep working on it. Anyway, Lynn asks. So Lynn asks, as a beginner, do you get clubs or a lesson first? So what I would say to that is it's kind of a little of both. What I would say is look at your budget. What do you want to spend? If you're a beginner and you don't know that you want to play for a year or two, I would say that there's plenty of good sets out there for under $500 that you can get a full set brand new. You could get a used set, but what I would do is make sure the length and the flex or weight of the clubs are right for you. If you're going out to buy a set of clubs, I would say you could go to most retailers and they'll give you a good idea, hitting a couple shots, of what clubs are going to fit you and what clubs are going to be the right weight for you to swing so that they're not too heavy. And then, the length and the weight are going to be probably the most important things. There's other things like lie angles and grip sizes and all that. We can look at that later, but I think at the beginning of it, just a nice box set that's affordable for you, that you're willing to spend on the duration that you think that you'll be trying out golf. I think that'll be great. And what happens is then I would definitely get a lesson. I'm a big proponent of that, but one lesson, get out to see stance, your posture, how to hold the club, some good drills just to get the club moving and hitting the ball in the center. I think all those things will be a big benefit for you. So I would feel comfortable going out and getting a set and then signing up for a couple lessons. If you do want to, a lot of coaches will take a lesson without clubs yet and then give you a recommendation, and then they can help you out get in that direction. Just decide how much you want to spend before you go, and there's a good set in pretty much every price point. So just go see somebody if you want, and then they'll give you a recommendation, or feel free going into a big box store, but getting fit for weight, wind flex, but weight of the club, lighter or heavier, but the weight of the club, and then just the length will be probably the main thing.
Question for you, Andy. Is there a finite amount of lessons, or is it infinite? When do you feel that like the instruction should end? Is there like a curriculum, a graduation? I mean, I know that that's silly, but it's where does the golf instruction line end for somebody, or does it ever?
So it's for everybody. I think that's a great question. So everybody's different. I know that seems like a cop-out answer, but it really is. So I have clients that I see them every 6 months. They feel like that they have a pretty good understanding of their swing. They have a good understanding of how to practice. And then every once in a while, they just need a set of eyes to take a look at their swing. Some people, it'll be for a repetitive amount of time, week after week after week. But I think a coach and the relationship between a coach and a student should be, how can I get you to have the ability to practice and form your own game so that you can be self-sufficient in practice and on the course? As soon as a coach should be getting a student to a point where they can be self-sufficient and just check in every once in a while if they do need a little bit of help with their instruction. It shouldn't be necessarily a lifetime thing. Now, some people do like that coaching week by week by week, and I'm not going to stop them. But I do think that if you can create a construct of, this is how much I want to practice. Let's say the average is going to be about 1 hour of practice a week, and then they're going to play once or twice a week or every other week for the golfers that play quite a bit. And then some people might play a couple times a month. Then they only need a lesson every other month or so. But if that's the hour that you have, then just deciding how that hour is going to be divided up. What skills do you need to get the most out of your game? What skills are going to help your game the most? And then just focus on that, which kind of gives me a little, I'm kind of rattling on here a little bit, but
no, it's all good.
Yeah.
We have the unique situation of Wisconsin golfers in that we have a forced hiatus.
Yeah.
So Florida golfers don't really have that. We do. So
yeah, we get a little time off, which I think that's a great point. So what does it look like over the winter? I know we're going into spring now, but what does a winter program look like? And for myself personally, it's just kind of moving once or twice a week, swinging a golf club whether it's indoors. I'm blessed that I can just hit shots in here about any time I want at the golf lab. But there's places like this everywhere all winter that you can just hit a few shots and keep moving. Fitness routine, so you can get some good rotation, get the hips and legs moving, get the core a little bit stronger. You can do that over the winter. And then visualization, just thinking about the game. What if you were the golfer that you'd want to be next year, what does that look like? And I like to write stuff like that down, but you can just think about it. Just how would you practice? How would you focus? How would you act on the course? What courses would you play? These are all things you can go through all winter, and you're actually going to create a structure of thinking that's going to help you get to where you want to be. And it's almost like you've already been there, even though you haven't done it yet. So hopefully that helps out. I do have a quick, as long as the handy cam stays here, a quick drill that I think is going to help everybody that you can take to the range or you can do inside. But really, it's a drill that I think is at the center of just kind of feeling tempo and technique. And it's a little bit meditative at the same time. There it goes. Perfect timing. All right, Jeff, you can hear me?
Yep, perfect. All's good.
All right, so the drill that I want to look at is basically just a slow motion drill. And what you do is take any club, I like a 7-iron, and what you do is you just set up and you go about as slow as you can throughout your golf swing. Now, you might be working on a couple things, whether it's takeaway or how you transition. For the most part, I want you to focus on this one just by going about as slow as you can. And once you get up to the top, you don't have to stretch too far. Once it gets resistance, just stay there and then come about halfway down. And when you do that, see if the club is moving the way you want it to. Is your weight moving over to that front foot? Is your elbow, your trail elbow coming back to your side? Is the club coming down from the inside, as we call it, from here so that it can come from the inside? Do this a few times, feeling this, halfway down, and then go ahead and let the club go all the way through to a balanced finish. As you're doing this, I want you just to check in with a couple things. Do you feel balanced on your feet? Do you feel like the club is moving the way you want it to? Do you feel like you have control over the club? And how does it feel different than when you swing fast? That's probably the best drill you can use. I'm going to turn the camera here again. Back into golf jail. So I think that's one of the best drills that I know of.
Let's do
I
that.
lost your.
Yeah, we're back. Is it true that for me, when I used to play, you lose. You're very confident with your swing, when you start and when you're back here, but on the way down is where everyone kind of loses it. Is that accurate? I mean, is that where?
100%.
Yeah.
So what it is 90% of my lessons. 90% of my lessons, people get up to the top and then they just throw the club out.
Yep.
So, and then it gets out across the ball, or they have to do some kind of compensation with tilting or standing up to hit the ball. And that's one of the biggest misconceptions when people say keep your head down. That's not the problem. Your head's not coming up and then causing the situation. It's the club out steep coming at you, and you have to stand up and get out of the way because it's flying out towards you, and then you have to stand up. So that's a big misconception about keeping your head down. That's just going to cause more problems than it's worth. What I would say is if you can feel just a nice relaxed swing, kind of like I was going through, and does it have to be technically perfect? No, but I bet you it's better than the swing that you put on it when you swing fast. Yeah. So that's kind of the key, is we just want to take a temperature of your body, how the balance is moving, how the club's coming down for where you want it to go. And then just Really focus on a really slow motion. If you think it's slow enough, it's not. Go slower. And then I would even go so far as to hit a couple balls about as slow as you can. If you can't hit a ball in the center of the face at a slow pace, I don't think we have a lot of chance to do it as we speed it up necessarily. Now, still stay fluid, stay balanced, keep a nice tempo, feel like the club's swinging freely, but do the slow motion drill, keep that elbow in, weight goes to the left foot, and you're going to be pretty good. You'll be better than where you are, for sure. And that's a lot of the questions that I have for this week. Hopefully that was helpful. We'll try to get a camera that lasts more than 10 seconds here for next time. But,
I like it. It's kind of our signature thing, like the camera guy. That'll be our thing.
Well, hopefully Sony's sending a check. But
that would be lovely. You know where to find us. Fantastic. Well, thank you, Andy. That's all great stuff. If you're watching this after the fact and you have some questions, again, feel free to drop them in the chat. I will get them, and we'll get them on next week. And obviously, Andy, I know they can reach out to you.
Yeah, thanks again, everybody. The support's been fantastic. I really appreciate that. You can contact me at Elite Sports Club. I'm in Mequon. That's where the golf lab is, where I'm based. You can contact me through Elite Sports Club, or you can email me direct at andy@andyfishgolf.com. That's it.
Perfect. All right. We'll be back next week, same time. If you want to watch us live, 10 a.m. on Thursdays. That's Central Time for those of you watching in we're kind of international sometimes. It's kind of scary. So whatever time zone 10 a.m. Central Time in America translates to, stop on by. Thank you again, Andy, and we'll see you all next week.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, take care.